Hello everybody, this is methlokaiju, and today I will be doing a speculation video where I'll discuss what movies Legendary might plan for the Monsterverse past 2020 and even the possible villains. So the main assumption in this video, along with other things such as the villains and the plot, is that the Monsterverse does continue past 2020, which again is merely an assumption. That's just speculation from my part, just to do something fun. Do I think the Monsterverse will continue after Godzilla vs. Kong? I'm not sure, okay? I'm 50-50 on this particular scenario. I do see both sides, and they're equally as valid. Honestly, just for, optimist's sake, I am guessing that the Monsterverse will continue, but only if Godzilla vs. Kong does very well in the box office, maybe like 550 million plus, then I think the Monsterverse will continue. But again, I think 550 million for a Godzilla vs. Kong crossover movie, that's pretty little. So Legendary might think, hey, that's too little for basically the biggest kaiju movie profit-wise you can possibly do. So instead we won't continue. I don't know. There's just a lot of different things to account for. So I don't know. I'm 50-50 as I already said. So anyhow, in this video, I will be discussing what I think Legendary will do and not what I want them to do. If it were me, then I would have Gamera solo movie and then a Godzilla vs. Gamera, Beast of 20,000 Fathoms reboot, etc. So that is not the case in this video. This is more of a realistic approach. So here's my list chronologically, including release dates of what I think they'll be doing movie-wise. So first movie will be a Kong 2, like a Kong Skull Island sequel or Godzilla vs. Kong sequel that follows up with Kong for a 2022 release date, which I think that's a pretty good release date because 2021 they're gonna have to rush the entire production if it's for a 2021 release date. So 2022 is a more realistic approach. So if Godzilla vs. Kong does well, I think the executives from Legendary will think the partial reason for that is because of Kong, so they would want to capitalize on that. Also, Kong is a main star, and Kong Skull Island did enough money to warrant a King Kong solo sequel. So story-wise, I'm not sure what they can do here. Maybe show off the events of the Kong Skull Island sequel comic, maybe. What was it, 1995, I believe that takes place? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe right after the events of Godzilla vs. Kong, which I prefer and I think they'll go for. Maybe like Skull Island somehow becomes uninhabitable and then Kong has to traverse the world finding a new home. There's lots of possibilities, and especially when it comes to the villain. It could be a massive skull crawler that acts like a queen of them all. Maybe even like a Muto Prime. There's a lot of possibilities. Who knows? Now, next movie on my list is more on the lines of wishful thinking, but there is a realistic precedent for doing such a project, and that is a Mothra solo movie for a 2023 release date. There has to be more main monsters in the Monsterverse that audiences will go to see, and I think Mothra is a pretty good choice. She would attract a female crowd, and obviously it's a giant monster, which would attract guys in too. This movie may seem like a probable failure in the box office, but it won't if Legendary is smart and do a rampage approach to this movie, which is cast big named actors and have a budget of around 120 million. That way, if this movie does around Godzilla King of the Monsters numbers, which are what, 390 million or so, then it'll technically be profitable. So I think that's how they should approach this movie money-wise. Now for the story, I think it could basically be Mothra's rebirth if they don't do it in Godzilla vs. Kong. Even if the rebirth of Mothra does appear in Godzilla vs. Kong, I wanted to go more into the mythos of Mothra and explore Infant Island, which is basically canon as evident by the that one very quick image whenever Dr. Chen is talking to Kyle Chandler and shows her and her sister on Infant Island. For villains, have Batra, which can act as simply a villain version of Mothra, except this time there isn't a team up between the two of them. Okay, I think Batra will work very, very well. Now for the third movie, Godzilla 3 for a 2024 release. The main reason why I chose 2024 is because, there has to be a Godzilla movie for Godzilla's 70th anniversary. Okay, it's basically forced. So that's why it's 2024. So Legendary would learn from King of the Monsters' monstrous, pun intended, disappointments, and try and make another Godzilla sequel by casting bigger names, having a better release date, and a lower budget of, say, 120 million. Now, story. There's two different scenarios I have for this. Either here is where the events from the post-credit scene of King of the Monsters lead up to, or they go with another plot, making the Charles Dance post-credit scene lead up to a Destroy All Monsters movie, which is what I'm inclining with for the sake of this video. If you want to know my reasons why I think King of the Monsters end credit scene isn't going to take part in Godzilla vs. Kong, click the icon above. So if we go with the latter scenario, which I said before I'm inclined to believe, then I think they'll go with a, something relating to Monarch or some other group creating organic titans as teased in the newspaper clippings, which it's pretty blurry, but you could see it either way. As a villain, we can easily have Biollante with their same origin from back in '89, a Godzilla plant hybrid. Not sure about having a girl's DNA in there, but everything else would be good to implement. Michael Dougherty has said several times Biollante should be in the Monsterverse if it were up to him, and I think Legendary does kind of like Michael Dougherty. So if Michael Dougherty is casted for Godzilla 3, he may push for a Biollante villain, which would be really, really cool. And finally, for a 2026 release date, we have Destroy All Monsters. To end this phase and maybe the entirety of the Monsterverse, then a Destroy All Monsters movie is a given. Here is where you get the battle royale, not in Godzilla vs. Kong. I see a lot of people wanting to basically have a Destroy All Monsters movie be Godzilla vs. Kong, but again, the title is Godzilla vs. Kong, so focus on Godzilla vs. Kong and not on a giant monster battle rumble or anything like that. So in this movie is where we should have Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, Kong, new titans from King of the Monsters all teaming up to fight one mega villain. So story-wise, here is where we have Charles Dance's plot take place, or is an entirely new plot. We'll see. For the sake of this video, let's go with the King of the Monsters end credit stinger. So Charles Dance uses the Ghidorah head and creates a hybrid by splicing it with Godzilla's DNA, maybe Kong's DNA, and tons of other things, and creates a super hybridized Ghidorah. Okay, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's a Mecha King Ghidorah. No, it makes absolutely no sense. Why would they make a replica of King Ghidorah if they just have King Ghidorah's head and none of his body? That makes absolutely no sense. So anyhow, this hybridized Ghidorah could result in Destroyer himself, which is a very popular theory. I don't really see it though, to be honest. Maybe instead it's a Ghidorah hybrid that has a lot of characteristics to Destroyer. So like a Guido Destroyer type monster, which I think is more reasonable. Or maybe it's an entirely new design. To be completely honest, I think that is what they're going for. It might have some characteristics of King Ghidorah, but that's pretty much it. Maybe like two tails and wings, and that's about all. Because Alan Maxon, who plays one of the Ghidorah heads, supposedly said that he won't be in Godzilla vs. Kong, at least for now. So that kind of indicates that King Ghidorah, or like a three-headed being, is not going to be in it as well. Nonetheless, I expect a hybrid from this Ghidorah head and not Mecha King Ghidorah or anything like that. That is all for this video. This is what I predict Legendary will be doing for the future of the Monsterverse. Again, what I think, not what I want. Also, sorry for not uploading much. I mean, this video is 2 weeks after my latest video. I know that's quite a lot of time. There's certain factors. The first reason is because there really isn't too much news at all for the Monsterverse. I could do box office updates and stuff of the sort, but I really haven't been taking track on that, or keeping track on that, excuse me. So there's that. And also it is, the vacation time, and I've been doing other things. I've been interested in other topics that I usually am interested as well. So, again, I am very sorry for my lack of uploads, and I'll try to, be a little bit more in tune now. So just wanted to give out that little message. Please tell me in the comments below, what do you think Legendary is planning for the future of the Monsterverse past 2020? That's all for this video. Subscribe, like, and comment. This is methlokaiju signing out.